You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Amazing Race After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Amazing Race After Show.
We're back! Good evening, everybody. You are tuning into AfterBuzzTV.com's Amazing Race After Show for Season 24, All-Stars, $1 Million Backpack Episode 2. I'm your host, James Wallington, and I'm outnumbered tonight with some beautiful blondes in the studio. We're back, Jessica.
We're back, and we have a special guest with us. James' sister, actually, Rebecca. We're so happy that you joined.
Hey, Rebecca.
Me too. I'm excited to be here.
I love that you're here. For anyone who doesn't know, Rebecca is my teammate and my partner in crime on CW's Capture, so I'm so excited to have her in tonight. Now, there's a lot to cover with this episode. It was probably better than the premiere episode itself.
For sure.
So let's just dive right in and share our opinions, because I'm not gonna go easy tonight, and I already warned you on that.
I know. Uh-oh. What are we in for? What are we in for, Rebecca?
So the team start off with the pit stop from last week, and they are instructed with the route marker to go to the Chen Clan Academy. So it starts off with the Cowboys, Brenchel, and I love how in Brenchel's little interview, Brendan was like, "We managed to do a leg where Rachel hasn't cried yet." And she's like, "Really? That's not cool." But it's true.
It's true. It is true.
That we have Margie and Luke, Dave and Connor, Leo and Jamal, Mark and Mallory, Flight Time and Big Easy, Joey and Megan. Oh yeah, right. Flight Time and Big Easy. I want to know what their real names are.
I do too. Is it true that they're what's that show? Or that basketball team?
Globetrotters.
Yeah, is that true?
That is true. Mm-hmm.
tell
And they
they're
were just
literally
in
like
LA
6'8".
like a few weeks ago.
Huge.
Yeah, they are huge.
They're huge, yeah.
And then we have John and Jessica and Caroline and Jennifer taking up the rear. So they start off going to get those little stamps on their forehead. But one of the interviews that really stuck out to me was Caroline and Jennifer. I'm just going to dive right into those two right now really quick. Caroline says in her interview, "I'm not boy crazy anymore, but I'm going to flirt." What do you think about that statement?
Hey, a girl can flirt. No matter what, a girl can flirt. And flirting is a true technique. It can get you very far.
It can get you far. I don't think that's all you can ride on in a show like this, but I think it's definitely a good tactic. Sorry,
Well, hey,
James.
it's one more bonus that she has.
If you got it, flaunt it.
Right?
That's
Exactly.
That's true, but let's be real here. They got it to flaunt it, which is the only reason why they're back for All-Stars. They have no business being on this season. No offense, Caroline and Jennifer. I'm sure you're great girls in the real world, but on a show like this, All-Stars, there are other teams who are heavy hitters from their previous seasons that should have been invited back, that are true competitors, that don't just rely on flirting to get by. This is All-Stars. There's no room for flirting, there's no room for whining, and there's no room for complaining about every task being too hard. Suck it up. You signed up for this. Fight hard and persevere.
Ouch. James. Okay, I love that these girls are on the show because it's just a different side that, okay, flirting girls can be on Amazing Race as well. And people like them. People like watching them. They're entertaining. Yeah. So I'm all for them. I think that it's great that they're on this show. James.
I mean, you gotta have a good blonde. I'll say that. You
yeah,
gotta have
and they're
some good
so
blondes.
cute, and they wish well, and who cares if they flirt, and maybe it's all they have is their flirting techniques, but they're trying, and they're still working their way up.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see the first episode, but I'm curious how they'll do in future episodes, like physically. I mean, obviously they're keeping up, but if they'll be able to handle the really physical tasks.
They couldn't even build a car.
That's not, I mean, I don't know. It's a race, but I mean, so they have to get through the physical stuff. So I'm curious how they'll do with that sort of thing coming up.
I mean, if they get a makeup challenge, they'll dominate.
Like Jason and Amy
yes, like
last
Jason
season.
and Amy.
That is true. That is true. So they go to the park where, the Chen Clan Academy, and they have to get that stamp on their forehead. And it was funny to see their reactions when the guy would pull out the stamp like this.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do I do?
I wouldn't have gotten to put my forehead into his face. You know, I wouldn't have known to get stamped on the forehead. I would have.
Yeah.
I would have gone to grab it. I would have been like, oh, so this is the clue.
I thought, like, like when you go to the bars, like bar stamp. Stamp me, I'm 21.
That's a good point, right? Where they mark it. Yeah. I love it. So, really, the stamp was a clue to their next stop on this leg of the race, which was the children's play park, which I loved everything that happened there.
Oh, yeah.
So this was the Roadblock, and it actually was the capital, I believe what they said was the capital of toy making. So that's kind of cool, especially when you're in China. Like, I would feel like that's more of a Japanese thing.
Yeah.
Just because they're so out there with their toys and their gadgets.
I just wanted to be one of those kids, like, jumping around on, like, with all the toys and, like, the things in the middle, and I would be the worst kid, like bugging everyone trying to build the car.
Like the one bugging flight time?
Yeah, I was wondering why they didn't ask the kids for help in interpreting the directions.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know?
They could give the kids, like, come here.
Maybe
come
they
here.
could.
How does this work?
Come do this for me.
Well, it's like what Leo and Jamal said. I don't know which one because it was such a quick edit there. But one of them said Chuck E. Cheese on steroids.
Oh, for
Yes.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no I didn't see a ball pit. So to me, it's not Chuck E. Cheese if there's not a ball pit. So this is the Roadblock where they were told that they had to assemble a toy car. And it was really cute seeing, like Rachel talking about how Brendan looks so cute building the car.
And he's going to be a great dad.
Yeah.
So cute.
And then we also had someone else like Dave who was saying, this is one thing I hated about Christmas Eve, putting my children's toys together. So we had Dave, Margie, Jamal, Brendan, Mark, Flight Time, Megan, and John, and Caroline do this Roadblock. And I love Margie. Okay, she is a kick-ass mom, and Luke should be like, he's so blessed to have her for a mother.
Oh yeah, she is. She doesn't even act like a mom. She acts like she's like 30, like super, energizer woman. Mm-hmm. She's awesome.
Dominates.
She doesn't complain. Mm-mm. She's down for anything.
Mm-hmm. And like Luke said, on their previous seasons, on the first season that they were on, she built the propeller for the boat.
Yeah.
And then the second one, she had to build that dinosaur. Mm-hmm. So going into this, they already knew that Luke was like, my mom is going to do this.
Totally.
So I love
Well, they're a great
Margie.
team. You know what's better than having a mother-son team? You can't beat that. Like, that bond, you can't beat that.
I agree.
Sometimes I think, and I don't know if it's just his circumstance, but he seems a little pushy and a little sassy. And but honestly, she is so patient with him and so good with him and lets him talk, and their relationship is so awesome.
I agree. And what you said about him being sassy and a little bit pushy, in his defense, on the last 2 seasons, he drove me absolutely nuts because of those 2 things alone.
Yeah.
But I have to hand it to him on this season. I feel like, is doing a better job not doing that as much. Mm-hmm. He's holding his mom's hand to keep up at her pace. Mm-hmm. So he's really I feel like taking a step back to really be more of a support for his mom.
If you're on your 3rd season, I hope that you've figured out your strategy
Exactly.
and what works best for you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, holding hand is it's a good strategy. I mean, it worked for us on capture most of the time.
If you fall, you take your teammate down with you,
Yeah.
Don't look like the fool on your own.
And I'm sure they have restrictions where they can't be a certain amount of feet apart from each other, too. So why not, hold hands with your
And she was so
mom?
cute. She's like, I'm a little bit older. I can't run as fast. But, yeah, they still work so cute as a team.
I agree. And older or not, Margie, you're kicking some serious butt.
Seriously.
And you're inspiring moms everywhere, in my opinion.
You're already an all-star. You're on the all-star team.
They're probably the only 3-peat I'm okay with being back.
Yes.
Because Luke is inspiring audiences, and I love a good mother-son relationship.
And she's showing that moms are still kick-ass. Like, are you kidding? Being a mom and being able to do Amazing Race not once, not twice, but 3 times?
Absolutely.
That's hardcore.
She holds her own.
Yeah.
So I thought it was awesome that she kind of just took the bull by the horns with this one and she did some serious damage.
Right.
I also loved how with Joey and Megan was the one to build the car, not Joey. I love Megan. I think she has such a great attitude, and especially we kind of had a disagreement. Rebecca's like, I would have just left. I don't think you just said you didn't think you would help John.
I don't know that I would. I mean, I could see how maybe it could benefit them in future episodes if who was the team that they helped again?
John and Jessica.
If John and Jessica realize that they should repay them, but I mean, in the heat of the moment, they might not repay them.
Yeah.
In that way, you just keep going. So I don't know if that debt will ever be repaid.
Yeah, they kind of rebuilt their alliance from the previous season. And she said, you know, it's kind of like my motherly instinct just to help out. But to be honest, I think if that was me, I don't think I would have helped out because it was down to them too. And they, at the end, they were the last two.
That's true.
So, you know, who knows if John is gonna repay the favor back to Megan.
And I think All Stars is a little bit more trickier to navigate because you do have those prior relationships going into something like this. It's almost like you kind of have that loyalty with your season's castmates to want to see them succeed and also succeed as well because you were from an original season. So again, it's just a shared experience that they're having with one another.
Yeah.
But I love that for them. I was a huge fan of John and Jessica the first time they raced, and you know, I love Joey and Megan, so I like it.
Quick little tidbit. I just met Joey the other day.
That's right.
I took a picture with him, and his suit was perfect. It was like a velvet, like deep green. Oh, he looked so cute.
He did. He looked quite dapper. He's very handsome.
Yes, and very charming, and we had so much fun that night.
So another part of the Roadblock, the drama that went down, was revolving around the Express Pass. And I thought it was a little interesting how everyone was getting heated about the Express Pass going to Caroline and Jennifer. I mean, I would have been upset as well because, again, I feel like Caroline and Jennifer have no place being on this race. So it's like, why are you helping out someone who doesn't even deserve a spot as an all-star? What did you guys think about their strategy and what they were doing?
So, first of all, they did mention that they pretty much just wanted to get rid of the Express Pass because they didn't want the conflict, the drama, the pressure of having it. So they did get rid of it really fast. I think it might have been a good thing giving it to the girls because they're not as much as a threat. But I also think they maybe should have held on to it and used it almost to like buddy up with a stronger team and say, okay, here, if I give you this Express Pass, then you have to help us with this, or you owe us something.
Right.
So
a little bit more of a bargain with the team that has something more to trade.
Right. Exactly.
Because I don't feel like Caroline and Jennifer, they're not going to benefit from a team like that.
They flirted into that pass.
They did.
Absolutely.
So their flirt strategy worked to their favor.
Yeah.
But I also agree with Chet and Cord when they gave it up because now there's only one Express Pass in this race, and they have the power. So that was smart. But again, I agree with you. If they gave it to a stronger team at some point later on in the race, that would give them a little bit more of like a relationship with the stronger team who has more to give them back.
Right. They could have almost like that Express Pass could have formed an alliance, like a buddy system.
I agree, because I don't see Caroline and Jennifer, I'll give them credit. They did go fairly far the first time they played.
You're definitely toting this down. Before we talked about this, he was like, I'm going to rail. Like, I'm going to, yeah. You were toting this down.
Because what we're saying, though, like, they did get fourth, I believe, on the first time they played. So they held their own. But this is All-Stars, which means it's going to be 10 times tougher. So I don't see them really holding up with the strong contenders in the race. So I don't. So Chet and Cord, there's other teams you could have given the Express Pass to, but also
they're just such nice guys that they saw, two women building this car. She's already, in a bad mood. They're not doing very well. So
very poorly.
Very poor. Yes, exactly.
We should mention that comment. I wrote it down. What did she say? One of the girls said something like, "Oh, working on cars is a guy's job."
A guy's.
Oh, yeah. That drove you nuts. It did.
No, I mean, I'm not good at cars either. But that phrase put out on, put to millions of women out there is that's just not what we need.
Yeah,
that's
girls can do
the women
anything
down.
boys can do.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
why
better.
that's why Megan
Yes.
kind of said that in her interview. She's like, I found it annoying that they're playing weak. It's a slap in the face to women, and I agree because you saw Megan and Margie go in there and completely own that roadblock.
Right.
So I'm like, Caroline, get it together and just suck it up.
Yeah.
Just do it. You signed up for this race. Sorry, I'm really. Those two girls drive me absolutely insane.
But also, Megan really did kind of go hard on Caroline, saying that, you know, the blondes can't do anything themselves. But if Megan's going to say that, Megan's not holding the express pass. But the blondes are.
It's true.
So clearly they know how to work it. They know what they're good at, and they're working it.
True, but
We can
Megan actually,
relate, you know, being
Megan
a
actually completed the roadblock and has something to be proud of. Caroline and Jennifer, I'm sorry. You do rely. They rely on Flirting too much, and they literally cannot do anything themselves because the first race they played, they relied on Bates and Anthony the whole way through.
I just
So-
always go back to how they didn't know how to use the a stick shift car.
Oh.
And literally, they were like stuck. They're like, well, we don't even know how to drive this thing. I mean, it is true. They do rely a lot on Flirting and being able to manipulate with gentlemen.
Yeah.
But
When you got it, flaunt it.
Exactly.
That's all I'll have to say about
yeah.
that. So that was an interesting. There's a lot of drama with that express pass, but not just the express pass. It was a backpack drama going on. $1 million backpack.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like, who do you think was responsible first off with the backpack fiasco? Mallory or Mark?
I think Mallory was responsible, 100%. I think he said, he was carrying the car. You watched my backpack. She put it down. She still should have watched it. But at the same time, it was his backpack. That was, besides the car, that was the only other material thing that he had to take care of. So once they got in the car, he should have been like, my backpack. So you can't really blame one person. I think Mallory caused it, but then Mark wasn't really proactive on it. But bottom line, was that backpack worth fighting for $1 million and winning the race? No. She had his passport, she had his medicine, and so what if he lost a few clothes? I mean, he could have rewashed his underwear and worn the same thing. Or I'm sure someone
You
could
get
have
over it for $1
donated
million.
it. Yeah. But I think it was deeper. I think it was inside that they didn't get along.
And he kind of gave up.
He gave up.
I think he gave up because Bopper wasn't his partner.
Exactly.
You know, you kind of go into this, and when that's stripped from you and you thought that was what was going to happen, it was going to be you and Bopper to the end, I think you kind of go in with a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
You know, but I completely agree. Mallory kept saying over and over, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. And I have to tend to agree a little bit more onto her side in the fact that it's like if I'm at a bar and I decide to leave my bag on a seat, and I look at you guys and I say, will you guys watch my stuff, please?
Right.
Again, I'm still responsible because I'm putting it in my faith into you guys. If someone takes it, that's my bad. I should have brought it myself or had an eye on it myself.
Yeah.
Well,
So I
also, they
feel
don't have
like-
that personal relationship either. To have that trust, that they should have kind of been double checking each other, knowing that they're not as in sync as some other teams
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
That's
So
a really
if you
good
leave
point.
your bag with some people that you aren't that close with, you're going to keep your eye on it even more than if you are going to with, say, your sister.
Yeah, like if you
know?
see, someone you don't know, like, hey, would you mind just watching this? I'm gonna go to the bathroom or whatever. It's like if they lose it, you can't get mad at them. You can't blame them. It's not their fault. You had no idea who they even were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just met. But that would be a hard team. If they went farther, I mean, I couldn't even imagine doing an intense race like this with someone who I just met.
Yeah.
And their personalities were polar opposite.
Absolutely.
The only thing that they really had in common was the whole Kentucky storyline, that they were doing this for Kentucky and wanted to make Kentucky proud. And I get that, but that can only last for so long.
Right.
I mean, if you're not going to, it's kind of like a new relationship. If you're both not going to try to make it work, it's going to crash and fail quicker than later.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate because I had high hopes for them
I
because I
know.
really know that Mark needs that money. You know, so that's another reason why I was so upset that Chet and Cord gave that express pass to Caroline and Jennifer, because if they didn't do that, Caroline and Jennifer would have been eliminated, and someone like Mark, who absolutely needs the money, would have still been in the race.
Right.
So that's a little insulting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I couldn't handle that Mark and Mallory anymore.
That's
I don't know
true.
if I could watch them in
Yeah,
another
it was just
episode.
like, come on, all they do is argue and argue and argue. It's not going to go very far.
So much just friction in the relationship.
Yeah.
It's almost like uncomfortable and like
I
you
mean,
just
at
feel
least
weird watching
Caroline
it,
and
yeah.
Jennifer are so adorable to watch, even though they flirt the whole time. It's like, at least like, oh my God, you just did that. What a blonde. You know, like, what a blonde move. And I'm saying that and I'm blonde, so.
Well, you even said too, Rebecca, with Mark and Mallory's relationship, it's kind of like us. When we were on Capture, it was kind of like we have a brother-sister bond that when we bicker, we just shut up and put up and get over it.
Right.
But because they didn't have that strong relationship going in, they couldn't really forgive and forget that
Right, like,
quickly.
Well, and you have to know how to fight. Like James and I, we're pros. We fight. We know each other's strategies and how we fight. And so you get past it and you know how the other person's going to react with that, and then butting heads, you don't know how to recover from something, and for it to keep on getting the issues to get deeper, like you don't know how to get past that with someone that you don't know that well.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why you saw them kind of explode later on in the Detour. But before we move forward, I just wanted to give some shout outs to people on YouTube because we had a lot of buzz and I am so happy
Yeah.
to see all our fans commenting. So Enrico Carlos, Mr. Air Sonic Average John is back. He's been a huge follower of ours. Soul Brother. Tanny Kaimi, I probably butchered it, but thank you for your kind words on there. Mikey Leguillo. and
Butchered that one probably too?
Cheesy Ka. Thank you for having the conversations
We
with
love
us on
it.
YouTube and on Twitter, and we love it because we're super fans of the show too. So
Yes.
it keeps us interested in what you guys have to say. Because even one of them even said about Mark and Mallory's relationship that it would be interesting if that kind of set the tone for a race later on. Being paired with someone who's not your teammate, maybe an enemy, maybe a love interest, kind of like MTV's The Challenge Rivals, where they
Right.
brought people back that had to work together that weren't fans of each other. That would be an interesting season. So, great suggestion.
Yeah.
And also, if you guys really do like us and love us, make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Continue to, follow us on YouTube and on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle, Jess?
Dress Jess XO.
And mine's James Wallington. And Rebecca?
Oh, I'm Bex
Underscore.
Wallington.
I know your Twitter more because I tweet all the time. All right, so moving on to the last half of this episode.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
If you had the express pass
Yes.
in this episode, who would you have given it to?
Ooh, Rebecca, if we were a team, what do you think we would have done?
I was talking about this with you. Maybe I don't know, I haven't grasped the Express Pass as well as someone who watches the show more, but I would have, if I were in last place, I feel like I would have given it to someone further ahead than me, someone that I'm not competing for with one of those last spaces, or someone who, I don't know, someone that, because if the people who had, I'm terrible at this. The people
the Cowboys.
who had it. They were the people they gave it to. They were really competing against for those last 4 slots to get to. And
Yeah.
if you give it to someone who's ahead of you, you're not really competing against them because they're already 25 minutes ahead of you to get to the pit stop. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But then also the next episode or the next leg,
Then they're that much further.
they're that much further and they already, might be not necessarily a stronger team, but kind of in the benefit, like they had to start earlier. So it's so hard. I mean,
That's tough.
it's more of like your gut.
I think, I'm going to pull a country singer here for a second. I think I would have given it to Joey and Megan as a flirting tactic with Joey. And just because I really like Joey and Megan. And they're people that I want to continue to race with. And I feel like after seeing the type of player Megan is, again, just someone who's really generous and loyal to offer her aid and help to someone, I know that in return she would help me out later
Okay,
on.
he's dissing the flirting girls, and he's totally just saying that to flirt with Joey. So, okay.
But it's a good, because you also know that team would eventually help you out because Megan is just that type of person.
Yeah.
So
because the Bonds may not be able to help out the Cowboys down the road.
all they have to offer are their flirting services. Anyway.
It's helpful, but
I would have given it to Dave and Connor, just knowing what
yeah.
happened to them before. I just feel like they deserve that little extra boost.
Would you give it to John
Connor
and Jessica?
is adorable.
Oh yeah, Rebecca's all about
Connor's
Connor.
adorable. I'm a fan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fangirl.
I just love the son-daughter relationship and what happened the last episode when the father got hurt and they had to stop the race, and the fact that Connor is a cancer survivor. It's just the whole story. It's like they both just need something good in their
Yeah.
life, and an express pass would be great.
And what sets them apart is that they're both cancer survivors, which I think is
Yeah.
incredible. And they're on this race to obviously inspire everybody else that's gone through some hardships like that. So I really like Dave and Connor, and I forgot that's someone I think would also help someone out if they were to
Yeah.
be given the express pass. Would you have given it to maybe Jada and Jessica? Because thinking that they might never use it.
Yeah, so last season, was it last season or
Like two seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, John and Jessica got kicked off the show with an express pass.
Yeah.
Oh no,
They just never used it.
So it's like, here, John and Jessica, here's an express pass. Time to redeem yourself with hoping that they might not play it again as strategy.
Hey, that's possible.
It's possible. That's a good question, though, Jessica. Thank you
Yeah.
for asking that. So moving forward with this.
Let us know who you would pick.
Yeah. Comment below in the YouTube section.
Comment below.
Oh, also, again, we kind of talked about, whose fault it was with the backpack fiasco. Moving forward with that conversation and that debate, let's talk about, would you have left the backpack behind? You
I would have.
Rebecca?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
James, we didn't shower or we wore the same clothes for however many days we were out in capture. Like, you just get over it, you move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
$1
know?
million
You only get
could
so
buy you
gross.
a whole new closet of clothes.
Mm-hmm.
If you are really in that much need for money, which Mark kept saying, and I have no doubt that he needs the money.
Yeah.
You would probably say, screw the little clothes that I do have in my backpack. I'm going to give it a shot to win $1 million.
There was
That
either,
shot doesn't come every now and then.
Yeah. I believe that there was either something more important to him in the backpack that maybe he just didn't want to
True.
reveal.
Absolutely.
Or he just at that time was like, you know what? I'm kind of going to use this as an excuse. I can't work with Mallory anymore, and I'm just,
Checked out.
yeah, I'm checked out.
So he's like, let's go back for the bag. Even though I'm
Right.
being stubborn going back for it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Absolutely one of those two.
Yeah.
I wonder. And maybe you're right, he could have had something that maybe meant a lot to Bopper. And even with the bandana that Bopper gave Mallory about, it was his daughter's
Yeah.
bandana before the race that he asked her to wear. Maybe there was something very similar that Bopper gave Mark in the backpack.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. That's a good point. So the detour. It's funny that no one picked the thing with the, I forgot even the names because I was so distracted.
It was like the China cup massage thing.
I would have loved to have
any
seen
details
that.
on how
Honestly-
that works? I meant to Google this before I came.
I don't know, but I could seriously use massage therapy. It was like to stimulate blood flow,
And get
like
the
releases
reduce
toxins.
toxins.
Yeah.
I could use one right now. My back is killing me.
I think I've seen the results of those before, and it's big
Huge wounds.
bruises on your back. So I mean, I'm guessing maybe it's painful, but I feel like that would be so much easier. I mean, if it's
Producers are
releasing
probably
toxins.
so frustrated. They're like, we wanted to get people's reactions.
Yeah.
We wanted to
Good
actually put the
bruises,
story.
good
I mean,
wounds.
maybe next week we can come in and like one of us can just lie here and get the massage done while we recap next week's episode.
Chase or James, I mean, let's lay down.
Let's do the massages
Like, let's
next week.
some fire in some cups, and I think that's what they're doing.
I think it would have been entertaining to see, but everyone decided to do featherball on this detour. And I loved Margie and Luke's interaction when they first got there. And Luke messed up, and Margie goes, pay attention, like signed it.
Yeah.
And then Margie messes up, and Luke's like, pay attention.
That was really funny.
Yeah, I love Margie.
This
and
was
Luke.
a funny detour to watch because, wow, some people are very uncoordinated.
Yeah, well, it's not even like, it's funny, a hacky sack is like, just a ball.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit more, it's easier with hand-eye coordination, but this was like a feather ball.
It looks like a birdie,
It
like
falls
from
different.
Yeah, a birdie from
badminton.
badminton.
That one, yes.
What's that one?
Badminton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think it would have just been awkward to kick because you would see it fly and it would be like, and it would just go all over the place.
Yeah.
And people were slipping, like Megan kept slipping, poor
Yeah.
thing. And
She fell, and I think Mallory, I saw her fall a couple times too.
well, I think that was just a
I
dramatic
think Mallory
fall.
just fell
Okay,
a
that
lot.
was a little dramatic too.
She'd be like, ah.
Fall to her knees.
That's true. But I thought it was interesting how much time, even with Mark going back for the backpack, they were still kind of up in the pack
They
still.
were, yeah.
I wonder how much time went by. I wish they would always put like the time
I
lapse at the
know.
bottom just for viewers' sake, like how close it was, and especially with the pit stop, which we'll get to in a second. I loved Jet and Cord's skills. Remember that when they got their last kick? I think it was Jet that kicked it, but he like fell on his back and it flew, and
Oh,
then Cord was
yeah.
like boom and like kicked it.
It was awesome.
That was sheer luck, but it was it was an amazing shot. I loved this.
Would you have
detour.
been good at this detour?
James, he's very coordinated.
Yeah.
He's very he would have been good at it. He wouldn't have been awful at it.
But I'm also pretty impatient.
That too.
So if I wasn't doing
You get
well at
frustrated.
it,
Yeah, you get-
I would have been very flustered.
And once you get flustered and frustrated, you that shows in like your actions.
Like
and you,
Mallory.
Yeah.
She got a little flustered.
Yeah.
How do you think you would have done, Jess?
I mean, I would have been using every single part of my body to hit that little
Chest
flirty
bumping.
thing. Yeah, it would have been like booty popping, like I
A
would,
little twerk here, a little twerk there.
seriously. But I honestly, when I always try to think like before I even really know what it is, what detour I would pick.
Yeah.
And I totally was leaning towards the massage. It just
agree.
sounded. I don't have the best eye-hand coordination, so I probably wouldn't have picked that one. I would have done the massage. What about you? What would you have done?
I think I would have if we were a team, Rebecca.
Yeah.
I think we would have done the massage. I think that's more of a
Is there
cultural
something that we're not
thing.
hearing about? Why did people choose the hand coordinate? Like, as opposed to
good
something
point.
that is labeled like, as a massage, why would you not pick that?
Yeah.
I feel like there's other information, or maybe we missed part of the
Maybe they
description or
just thought
something.
like massage. There must be something tricky with that, you
Yes,
know.
I don't know. I immediately would have chosen the massage.
I always,
too.
I wish that we knew exactly what they get.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
in the envelopes?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you get the little brief summary of what's to come, but then there's always that little slot behind with
It's like-
just a typed on a little printer paper,
Yeah.
like what the real details are. So that's a good point, because I wonder why nobody went for that detour.
Like, you will be in pain, maybe. Like, if it seems like it'd be painful. Or
Yeah.
hot or something.
But it's a
those prices,
cultural
but-
experience.
I also noticed that there was one Chinese guy doing the feather ball who randomly kept putting his shirt up. I was like, okay, buddy, we see your abs. Yes, you got some. Ooh, your abs are really good. You're working those sit-ups. Like, come on.
Did they show that same clip 2 or 3 times? Or was
Yeah.
it this, or is it something?
The same guy.
Yeah,
Or was he
same
doing
guy.
it multiple
I
times?
think-
or I feel like they showed the same clip 3 times.
I don't know. Maybe I was editing, but we saw his abs like 3 times for
Yeah.
sure.
He was going a little wild. He's like, I'm a real good feather baller.
Yeah.
10 seconds of fame. Hey, Americans.
I loved that.
So the detour was fun. Not as exhilarating as the massage could have been.
Yeah.
But it was pretty close to the detour because this kind of led into the pit stop being really fun. And when I say fun, it's because so many teams were on the mat at the same time. Like
Yeah.
Phil didn't even have time to really interview the teams as they were coming in.
He like got lost of the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wait, you're team number 5?
I like how they crossed it out. And, like,
no,
put it out
actually,
the editing.
we're number 4 or whatever. He was like, he said that was the most crowded mat in all of Amazing Race history.
I wish they had a time lapse for that, so you could really
Yeah.
see how far apart they all
Well,
were.
we'll find out
in the
next
morning,
week.
or the-
because you know
yeah.
how they always
Oh,
at the
yeah,
bottom say
the-
departs at. I'm sure we'll see it's probably
Minutes
minute,
apart.
minute, and that's going to be a really exciting beginning to a leg.
Yes.
Very, very intense.
And depending on what the detours are and all everything that they go through, like they could be
could be a
that
pack.
close the whole time.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's very true. So I'm excited for next week's episode. So we saw Brenchel come in first. We got Margie and Luke, Caroline and Jennifer, David and Connor, Flight Time and Big Easy, the Cowboys, Leo and Jamal, our favorite Afghanimals, all on the mat at the same time. But I was really excited for Brenchel because that was their first win ever. And they're pretty strong competitors. We've seen them on Big Brother twice. This is their second time on Amazing Race. So to finally see them have a victorious leg was good for them.
It was. And she was so excited, so happy. And I thought it was funny too because when Mallory and Mark came, you could see her in the background just like bawling.
Yeah. She finally cried. We caught you, Rachel.
You did cry.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, even though they've had such a huge success with their reality TV careers, and I know a lot of people out there give them hate, the first few times I've seen them on TV, I wasn't a huge fan of those two. I love them this season, and especially Rachel does AfterBuzz, so I feel like there's a little bit of AfterBuzz loyalty. So you got to root for Brenchel this season, you know?
yeah.
So congratulations, Brandon and Rachel! Yay!
Well deserved.
$2,500 each.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Especially because she was supporting him the entire time. Like, oh, you're gonna be a great dad. Look him out there, like building the car. They're a supportive team.
They
Is
are.
that how they've been in every show that they've been in? They've always been that supportive because they're role models. They're They're fantastic.
Yeah.
They work so well together.
Well, because their first season of Big Brother, they actually met and they had their showmance, and a lot of people weren't sure if it was just for TV or if it was real. Then they were invited back for another season of Big Brother where they dominated, and Rachel ended up winning the whole show. Then they were invited to do Amazing Race, and they were so close.
And they were engaged or a couple, right?
A couple, I believe, at the time, and now they're married.
Now they're married.
So, so they've had quite a journey on their CBS reality resume, and it's been fun to watch them. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll be on Survivor Blood versus Water next.
Oh, God.
So this is where things got interesting, especially after the whole situation where Megan helped John at the Roadblock. They were so close racing to that pit stop, and if the Express Pass, was played and Mallory and Mark didn't have their backpack drama, this would have been end all be all for Megan and Joey.
Yeah.
So that's when Megan said, this was a good lesson to learn. I don't know if I would do this again going forward.
Right.
So at least you learned your lesson, Megan.
I know.
Last but not least, Team M&M, Team Kentucky, Mark and Mallory. I thought it was cute that, again, maybe it's just because it was so close in the rankings that everyone was standing behind Phil and, wanted to show their support for, I think, more so Mark than Mallory, just because of the situation Mark had to go through at the beginning of the race. So it was sad. It was a little emotional. What did you think?
And he said, it wasn't meant to be. I wasn't supposed to race around the world without blooper. But
Hopper.
I mean,
Justin last week.
blooper. That's going to go
I
in
went along with
bloopers.
it.
Bopper.
Justin did the same thing last
blooper.
week. He's like, boober, bopper, bapper. I don't know.
Bopper. So I thought that was, cute, and he got emotional, and she did too. So
I doubt they're friends after this.
No,
especially after Mark was like, oh, you're making it look like all people from Kentucky act like this. And she's like, you threw me under the bus.
What was he saying? He said, like, you need to take it easy or something that basically told her, like, tone it down. I was like, dude, you're racing for $1 million, or you don't tone it down.
Right.
You step it up every
And you
second.
know what? I loved Mallory the first 2 times she's played the race because she raced with her dad. So the connection she had with her dad was something you loved. It was endearing. You wanted them to do well and win, and they almost did the first time they played. The second time they played. I forget which one, actually, because they were so good in both. But it's a little upsetting that I feel like Mallory's spirit a little bit was lost this time around because it was a foreign situation for her, because she really is more upbeat and more less stressed. She's more like rolling by the seat of her pants kind of thing.
Right.
But I think it's because she had a lot of weight on her shoulders to fill Bopper's shoes.
and that would be so hard.
Yeah. So you got to hand it to her for at least giving it a shot.
Yes.
Nice attempt, Mallory. Let's dive into some predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
That's new, and I love it.
I just got scared.
Yes. I love it.
Like, was that supposed to happen?
Because the old predictions was like scary. It's like predictions.
And it was a little dragged out. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great. I love this. So going into next week, what do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to go home?
I think. I don't know. I think that the Caroline and Jennifer are going to hang in there one more time.
I won't argue that.
I think they're going to hang in there. I think that I'm just rooting for Connor and Dave. I love them. I love their relationship, their story. I think they work well. They're kind teammates to everyone else. So I think that they're going to do really well. To narrow it down, I don't really know. Who do you think is going to go home?
Well, in the preview, we saw Flight Time and Big Easy having a good time, or with the locals of whatever country they're off to next. So I think they're going to do pretty well. They did show Brendan and Rachel, have some struggles with whatever. I think it might have been a Detour challenge on the river, and they lost their raft, and they were floating down the river, and, there's some banter back and forth. But I feel like if that's a pivotal part of the story and that's a little bit of the drama, I don't think they're going to be the ones to go home. That's just more of like the cliffhanger for us to want to tune in. So I think Brendan and Rachel will do pretty well. Not really, really well, but they're not going to get eliminated. I agree with, I don't think Caroline and Jennifer are going anywhere anytime soon. I think Dave and Connor really have it set to win. I think they could have won the first time they played.
For sure.
So they seem pretty level-headed and keep the momentum up. I'm a little nervous for Joey and Megan.
I know.
They have been at the bottom of the pack the last 2 weeks.
And also, I know Jet and Cord won the first leg, but some things they do you know how at the very beginning of this leg, they didn't get in a taxi or go to the metro. They started to walk. And I don't know, just like small little things. Maybe they're just not as like worldly as other teams.
I agree with you.
So maybe that'll be, maybe work to their disadvantage. But I don't know. So.
But as Flight Time and Big Easy said, from experience racing with them, anytime there's a challenge, Chet and Cord.
They were so
they go
fast
through.
at building the car.
Yeah. I love how I said Chet and Cord. It's Chet and Cord, right?
Yeah, jet.
Chet and Cord.
They just jet through the
jet
challenges.
through the challenges. So I think that they'll be fine too.
Yeah.
But I agree. They kind of make some silly mistakes like that, and that could ultimately cost them the race at the end of the day. So it'll be interesting. We have a good batch of people, and after this episode, I'm excited to see how next week will play out.
I know.
Well, and you were mentioning that there weren't any villains this episode.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Like, there's no one you really want. I mean, I already hate on Caroline and Jennifer enough, but they're not villains at the end of the day because they do have fan following.
You had to have your flirty blondes.
Yes, they fit the casting mold.
Yeah.
So where are my villains? Where are the people I really don't want to see win? Where are my Tim and Maries that I love to hate?
Yes, Tim and Marie, they would have been awesome to come back.
I would have loved to have seen them.
Yes. Or what was
Max
the other?
and Katie.
Yeah, Max and Katie.
Yes. So there's
Yeah.
some good villains I think that they passed up on for All Stars. If it's going to be an All Stars, you need a villain.
Right.
You do. So.
Maybe we'll grow a villain.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, that would be a twister. Yeah. So comment below and let us know who you think might be the villains of this season. Jessica, where can they find you?
You can find me at DressJessXO. I'm very active on Twitter and all the social media.
And make sure to follow her YouTube because she just went to India with her mom, and I've loved watching her updates. You are so lucky. Your mom is beautiful.
Funny
I'm
story
so jealous.
about Amazing Race and being a huge fan. So my mom and I were in India riding an elephant, and we shot an Amazing Race audition tape.
About time.
I know, but my mom then decided that no, she can't do the show because she's not an adventurous type of girl.
She needs to watch Margie.
I know.
Okay.
Mom, you could be this next cool mama.
So make sure to check out her videos because I'm a huge fan. Rebecca, where can they find you?
I'm at Bex at BEX_Wallington.
And I'm James Wallington on Twitter and on Instagram, Mr. James Wally. And if you're a fan of reality TV and you're local to LA, come check out the Reality Wanted Awards pre-nomination party tomorrow night. Rebecca and I will be there. We'll be announcing some of the nominees for this year's awards.
Ooh.
And tweet us, comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.